this. This Extreme Rules will not be considered the greatest of all time. It was okay. But you guys know from the thumbnail and the title what was the most important to me. But let's go through everything else. I want to just say about two things of the kickoff. David Otunga's back, and what is going on with Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews. Come on. I don't get it. You guys tell me below, what is the point of this? I mean, if they're going to have a situation where they're going to fight one another, I think this would have been it. The Titus brand has been screwing over Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews has been losing to Kalisto, of all people, who's not even allowed to be on 205 Live. This is the thing that gets me. Kalisto should be on 205 Live with Finn Balor. I know I'll talk about Finn in a little while, but it makes sense because they fit the weight class. But you got him on Raw by himself, with no one to really wrestle. Majority of the time, I've never seen him go up against a 205 Live guy. The only person I've seen it is Braun Strowman and now Apollo Crews. Braun Strowman destroying his ass, and then Apollo Crews bitching to his ass. I just don't get what is the point of Kalisto. And then I still don't understand the point of what's going on with Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews. They should just have already started their feud because it feels like it's dragging. Now, oh, almost forgot. I didn't say this. Maybe I should leave this for Raw because that's where they want to do it. If they're going to do the Golden Truth and the feud on Raw only, it kind of stupid, but that's where they want to do it. I stopped myself in mid-sentence. Anyway, the first match that truly angered me, and you guys know what it is because I kind of mentioned it in the kickoff show, the 205 Live match of the mixed tag of Nolan Dar, I finally got his name right, and Alicia Fox versus Rick Swann, and why? I'm not mad at Rick Swann. I'm not mad at Alicia Fox. I'm not mad at Nolan Dar. I'm not mad at them. They're not the issue. It is Sasha Banks. She was headlining pay-per-view. She was headlining Raws. She is the most entertaining female wrestler that they have on Raw. That is the truth. She's the most entertaining. Out of the entire crop of NXT, when they made it a full developmental territory. Not before, when the FCW guys and girls were transferred to NXT, when they realized they could actually do something interesting with it when FCW went away. I'm talking about the people who were developed there. She is the best one developed from the crop of NXT people that came. She just is. Out of anybody who came up that could have been rushed and were rushed, she's the only one who's been the best developed. She is. But what do they do with her? They throw it to 205 Live. They let her do a match on 205 Live to a certain extent. And then they do this with her. It doesn't matter who won. Of course, they won. The faces won. And they dance their asses off. But it's stupid. I feel like I want to rip my face off and just... I don't need that because I don't want my face to start twitching. Anyway, the next match I'm going to talk about is, how can I say this? I'm glad to see the IC match happen. I'm glad to see The Miz won. Admittedly, I would have been glad to see The Miz win by Maurice smacking him in the face and basically the ref just allowing it. As it stood the way it happened, it wasn't bad, but to be honest, it would have been more better if The Miz just won by Maurice smacking his face. Or better, what is this guy's name? Eliza Sampson come out and just attack The Miz because they paid him off. Then you would do something with Eliza Sampson instead of just letting him have that segment in the middle of the ring like an intermission of Raw. Mind you, it is different, but it doesn't mean it's good. I'd rather see Elijah do something with The Miz. That would have done something more credible for his character. Anyway, the Bayley versus Alexa Bliss match. This was a match I didn't really care that much about. It wasn't because I don't like Bayley. She's okay. It doesn't mean I don't like Alexa Bliss. Her character is the best character you've seen in a while. But the problem is, a candlestick on a pole match is nothing. If you saw what Bayley said with Charlie, if I'm remembering her name right, she said, I did some research on Tommy Dreamer, I did some research on the Sandman. If you did research on them, why didn't you make a request? Instead of having a candlestick on a pole match, have a Singapore cane match. How long has it been since we've seen a Singapore cane match in wrestling? At least professional wrestling that is international like in this company. I don't think it's never happened. And if it has, it's been a long time. I would have been more entertained seeing a Singapore cane match than this. Because it didn't feel like anything. It didn't feel like it was important. Especially that Alexa Bliss really wasn't hitting her that hard. It would have been better to have a basic match. If no one's ever seen a Singapore cane match. I never literally saw the match when it was live. I saw it after the fact, but I did see the match between Tommy Dreamer and the Sandman who she mentioned. They had a standard match, and when the match was over, that cane was used on the loser. Smack in the back, smack to the back, smack to the back, until the person who was doing the hitting had been satisfied. That would have been something better to see than this. Because when you see Bayley, she bitched out so many times, it was a joke. I would have liked to see that than this. Now, the second best match of the night, by far, was the Austin Aries versus Neville match. Now, I want to say by the time this match came out, before the end of the night, that would have been the best match of the night. If the ending had not happened the way it did in the Fatal 5-Way, this would have been the best match of the night. It would have been. And the best thing about this is that both the people who are involved in this are the most charismatic people on 205 Live. Neville has the most charisma, so does Austin Aries. Admittedly, Austin Aries is kind of falling off a bit because they want to keep Neville on that title for a while. Which is understandable. Because popping the title back and forth isn't always good. It's a lot of times very bad to pop the title from one person to another, to another, to another. And I have to admit, seeing this match, I didn't know who was going to win. And to be honest, I didn't care. Both of them have great chemistry together. Both of them talk very well together. Both of them talk separately to other people and very good. So either way, I would have been satisfied. And the match was actually very good. In the end, Austin Aries lost. He did. But it was a very damn good match. And the best thing about this match, and I want to make this very clear, 205 Live is constantly, supposedly, because they don't let them really go all out in 205 Live, but the concept of 205 Live is that you have extreme high flying like Lucha Libre. And if they're doing that all the time, seeing this on Extreme Rules would have been nothing but dull. But having as a submission match actually changed it up a little bit, letting 205 Live guys do some high flying, but it's dedicated to submission only, was a good touch. But it had to be Austin Aries and Neville. If it was anybody else, it wouldn't have worked. And I'm saying this to anybody who loves 205 Live and loves the high flying. You have to understand, if these guys do not have a character or storyline, it means nothing. I understand high flying is a lot of fun. I understand submission matches are a lot of fun. But you got to balance it out. Because it would be basically amateur wrestling if it didn't have any of this stuff. And if you cared about that and think it's better than anything, then watch amateur wrestling instead of watching professional wrestling. If you don't care about storylines, if you don't care about character development, watch amateur wrestling, forget about pro wrestling. I don't mean to be rude and cruel, but it's just the truth. Now, let's see. The Hardys versus Sheamus and Cesaro. This was the third best match of the night. There was only one major flaw with this. Honestly, it's just one major flaw. And hopefully, it will be corrected this Raw coming Monday. It wasn't the fact the match was bad. It was actually pretty good. Matt was the one who was doing most of the work, which makes me have a little bit of hope they're actually going to start pushing Matt more between Matt and Jeff. But when it comes down to it, after the match was over, the Hardys lost, Sheamus and Cesaro win, which it's alright. People are enjoying them to a certain extent. And damn, Sheamus was sweating his ass off. You see at the end, Sheamus was just a pool of sweat. Now, I'm not saying Cesaro wasn't sweating, but Sheamus was just a pool. Woo! Damn, that was just ugly. Even his hair wanted to droop. That's how bad it was. But the problem here is this. You have the Hardys. You got Matt and Jeff. Taking away from the broken Matt Hardy gimmick, you could be doing something with Matt and Jeff. And to be honest, they're doing nothing with Matt and Jeff. And it makes me think of what happened 2 years ago when the Dudley Boys came back, and they should have been used properly, utilized, and promoted, and nothing happened with them. Nothing. And I have this bad feeling this is going to happen with the Hardys. I could be wrong, though, because after them losing this title now, of course they're going to have a rematch, and let's just hope it's not going to be a rushed rematch. But you don't know until it actually happens. I'm just hoping they'll really push the Hardys in a different direction. Let them turn heel. Let the Hardys turn heel. If you can't use the broken Matt gimmick, just let them do something different. Let them be prominently featured and actually be cared for, because as it stands, as much as I love the Hardys, they're not doing anything. Now, let's see, am I forgetting anything? I already talked about Elijah Sampson. And it would have been better if he actually worked with The Miz. I'm just repeating that because it just felt awkward seeing that. Even though it was different. Now, finally, Fatal 5-Way. Fatal 5-Way. Joe, Finn, Seth, Roman, and Bray. I admit, the way I saw that match, and it became the best match of the night, the way I saw it, it felt like it was going to be about Finn Balor. As they kept jumping back and forth, going between Finn and Seth, Seth to Bray, and then you see a strange thing between Bray and Samoa Joe working together. And I thought, whoa, the Bray and Samoa show. I wasn't totally surprised because they had worked together before, messing around a couple of Raws before. But by the time we reached the end and Samoa Joe won, I honestly felt I didn't know who was going to win. It still seemed like it was going to be Finn Balor. But in the end, they used Finn Balor to win. The minute I saw Samoa Joe put that rear naked choke on his ass, I was already happy. But then when he wiped him out, the same way he did on NXT before he ended his career there, and that's Finn, I felt, oh, this is sweet. Yes. Yes! I was so happy. I was beyond happy. I've always loved Samoa Joe. I don't know how to reiterate that Samoa Joe has the pedigree to make things work in the WWE. He's a good submission specialist. He doesn't do huge high flying, but he can do when it's necessary. He has an incredibly great character. He has charisma, and the best thing, he works very well in the ring. Next to sometimes he does a couple of botches, but he works very well in the ring. But the best thing about choosing Samoa Joe to go up against Brock Lesnar and Great Balls of Fire, if they're going to use that title, is that he is a submission specialist. He can be in MMA with the style that he has. So that actually goes with Brock Lesnar, and it actually makes it different. Samoa Joe's 350 pounds. Brock Lesnar's about 280, 290 pounds. They're not much different in weight. They both run around the ring pretty damn fast. And in the end, you could have something very special between them. Now, I don't know if Samoa Joe's going to win the title. There's a good chance he won't. And this will still keep Brock Lesnar holding the title until he has to face someone again. Till maybe not Survivor. I think Survivor Series will be the next time he's going to defend it. It could be that. Because I do believe that he's going to be giving As much people are not going to hear it. You're going to have Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at the next WrestleMania for that title. I believe they're building up to that. It would make sense. But in the end, I'm glad that Samoa Joe is there. And if he does win the title, it will be something I've dreamed of for many years. Because I've always liked Samoa Joe in TNA, now Impact Wrestling. He worked harder than most to get where he's going. He's Samoan by heritage, or Fijian. And he is not part of any family that is known in the WWE as Samoan. I still say have a Samoan fight between Roman Reigns and the Samoa Joe. It would be something special if they do family versus family, Samoan versus Samoan, but they're not going to do it. But I can still hope one day that they'll actually do a Samoan storyline. That's what I think we'll do. And Samoa Joe has to be the lead of it. But this is just my point of view. You guys tell me below how you felt about this Extreme Rules 2017. Please leave a comment below. Have a good night. Peace.